Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are for part 2 of my segment of Quis's Couch, Marvel versus DC. I am your host, the Quis. This is about good friend Stegman. Stegman, say what's up to the people.
What's up to the people?
Now, if you watched the first episode of this 2-part series, then you know that I have a very deep, profound, and wholly justified love of Marvel Comics. My good friend here, who survived the rapture, Stegman, unfortunately, he has not seen the light. Clearly, I have a bias, but I'm going to allow him to talk about DC Comics real quick. I love a lot of things in life, and Marvel Comics are probably at the top of that list. And the reason why is because the X-Men comic, which was established in 1963 during the Civil Rights era, was created to represent the fight to be accepted. I don't understand how a fellow black man doesn't read an X-Men comic and see himself in those pages, these powerful entities that are misused and misjudged by society, but yet still fight to protect it. Like that resonates with me. I am a mutant. Shouts out to all my fellow mutants. DC is this like hokey throwback, and I don't understand why this poor lost soul with so much potential could be caught up in that world. I mean, Marvel is the Democrats of the comic industry. In DC, they're the conservative Republicans. Drink milk and be a good guy and live upright. Marvel is more like your gritty, your hippie, weed smoking, dreadlock rocking, middle class kid who's thumbing his nose to the establishment. And I got some other points, but Stegman, please, you speak to what makes DC redeemable in your mind. Again, this is Marvel Comics, the multi-billion-dollar juggernaut that's going to have 3 blockbuster movies this summer, versus DC, which is going to have 1, Green Lantern, in which Ryan Reynolds are going to have individual toes. So, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction.
Right.
And I will agree with almost everything you said. When Marvel Comics first came out, they were indeed very impressive. They surpassed DC for a time because DC has been out countless times before that. But Marvel has lost its way over time. Yes, it started out as the X-Men as being a metaphor for the civil rights and the Hulk being a metaphor for unbridled anger and how it can destroy someone. But over time, Marvel has just become boring and repetitive. I mean, how many times can we hear about the X-Men being mistreated by people? Okay, we get it. Yes, you are fighting in a world that you hate. Okay.
No, that hates and fears them.
That hates and fears them. Yes. Right. Okay. Congratulations. However, DC, they are more than that. They keep all their characters feel more. What's the word I'm looking for? Complete. Like they focus more on their characters. Like Hal Jordan, you know how his motives, his intentions, his thoughts, his feelings. They have more.
But Hal Jordan is the guy who the most interesting thing that happened to him is that he was seduced by fear that he supposedly is the antithesis of. Because other than that, what has Hal Jordan did in the last years?
The whole point of the Green Lantern is to overcome fear, and he was seduced by it.
Okay, other than that, that's all he has. Like his only claim to fame is like being seduced by the one thing that he's supposed to be above. Because in 50 years, Green Lantern who was like his other than being possessed by Parallax? What else has he contributed to the world of comics?
Well, he was the first human Green Lantern to ever exist.
Which is the kind of onus and whole point of his story is that he was the first human. But after that, so he went from being the first human Green Lantern and being overwhelmed by fear. Great job, GL.
And starred in countless of great ongoing stories, including the current Green Lanterns.
So 70 years. What was that first Green Lantern movie that he was in, or 50 or 60 years? Oh, the one that hasn't come out yet. Right. Okay. Please continue.
Yes. Well. He's still a much more in-depth character than any Marvel thing I can think of.
Really?
Yes.
Either than a certain arachnic powered individual.
Okay. Well, yeah. Spider-Man transcends beyond both Marvel and DC.
Okay. All right. So let's just be careful.
He's just a great character. Period.
No arguments here. All right. So, but you were saying, in terms of Green Lantern and Hal Jordan, in terms of the DC characters being more interesting in general.
They're more interesting in general. I mean, when you read a Superman comic, you know not only who Superman is.
I'm sorry, I fell asleep. Even just you mentioning his name made me sleepy. All right, please continue.
It should make you feel awed and inspired.
Really?
Yes.
Why this guy who, by definition, is not human? He's an alien, but yet he's like, if I aspire to be Superman, who's pretty much like Jesus, I could never be him because he's from Krypton. Like, how am I supposed to be inspired? I mean,
if you inspired to be Superman, there wouldn't be any crime in the world.
I don't know. See, I can relate more to Wolverine because Wolverine is trying to fight that inner demon that we all can relate to. Superman is something that we'll never relate to. I can never be Superman, but I am Wolverine. I'm fighting that inner demon, that inner battle. I am the Hulk. You know what I'm saying? I am the Punisher. Sometimes I just want to shoot all the bad guys instead of, replicating that redundant, legal program. If I know you're a mass murderer, why should I, take you to jail? Why don't I just put two in your head and go solve it live?
So let's say that you're a cop who's like the real life heroes. You would rather just shoot the criminal instead of like bring him to jail? Wouldn't the cop then be arrested? Wouldn't the cop become?
Not if he was wearing a cool mask or a T-shirt with a logo and that was like,
if he had a skull on his chest.
That's how many superheroes are cops that decided the justice system doesn't work. I have to take it into my own hands. I mean, come on, that's a great story right there.
That's not a great story. That's condoning murder. What is that?
No, it's sanctioning. I mean, well, that's the case. Then you condone murder if you appreciate the Osama shooting.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes murder is necessary.
Never.
Well, put it like this. What were you gonna say?
If you're a superhero and you have that much power, then there's always another option besides just killing the bad guy.
I don't know. Some, and we're talking about two issues, and that's the beauty of comics. Sometimes you get so wrapped in the conversation that you feel like talking about real life. Comic books, they hinge on the idea of suspending disbelief. When we're talking about people who, as you say, can wipe out 1 trillion people because they're bored, that motherfucker need to be put down. All right, that's the person that you kill. All right, the guys on the corner that are selling weed and even these weird that are chopping up ladies, that's some emotional shit. But if you have the power of a god like the Qouch, and you can like at a whim alter reality, and you're emotionally unstable, and you can destroy reality. I don't know. Maybe you need to be put down.
I don't think so. It didn't in that current story. Right? She have no memory of doing that and no powers at all.
Because she said, "Oh, are we gonna believe a woman really? I didn't remember that I erased 99% of the mutant genome.
But did it kill you, huh?"
Well, Wolverine, he doesn't mince words or play games. We're talking about all of existence here, okay? These are the same people who killed a child apocalypse in order to avoid, the apocalypse.
Exactly. They killed a child apocalypse because potentially might.
But it's the whole would you kill Hitler argument as a baby. Half the people say yes, people say no, But at the end of the day, that's what is amazing about this art form, that you can become emotionally invested. It's a multi-trillion-dollar entertainment industry, between the movies and the games and the toys. People who don't read these or think they're for kids don't realize that these stories are telling the electric complexes, the Freudian complexes, the whole, class conflict issue is at play here. Everything from race to misogyny, all that can be found in this art form. And that's why two individuals like ourselves are so enamored with it. One thing I want to say about why I love Marvel as opposed to DC. DC does focus on the individual, almost to a fault. I'm going to read 25 pages of a DC comic where Batman is talking about he became Batman. He might slap some people around. And then I'll read the X-Men comic and it focuses on his abilities. If I want to read people talk about how bad it was that they were raped or molested or like your good Red Arrow friend who, was addicted to cocaine or whatever, heroin, then I can just go outside. But if I want to read about somebody who can transmutate matter or, affect molecules, that excites me. I'm not reading this because I want to, if I want a soap opera, I turn on channel 4. If I want to read about somebody who has cool abilities and who's, I don't know, super being, I'm going to read Marvel.
But that's kind of going against the whole point of Marvel. Isn't Marvel supposed to be more realistic? So shouldn't they focus more on the the drug addicts and the...
No! Marvel is like you were bombarded by cosmic rays or gamma rays or pretty much any type of rays because apparently you get worse. Then what would you do if you could lift a building or fly at supersonic speeds? Marvel takes abilities and make that the crux of how humans would deal with those abilities. So they think with Marvel, I could be Spider-Man if I was bit by a radioactive spider. What would I do then? I would become a wrestler and, be a scumbag until my uncle was shot. And then I would be, the paradigm and the paragon for virtue. Whereas with DC, I could never be Superman.
Why couldn't you ever be Superman?
Because I could never have been born on a destroyed planet and fly to Earth and live as a human, who, again, that's another thing. I'm going to take off my glasses. Oh, who am I? I could be anyone. Because clearly, this versus this is one of the coolest disguises ever. How do you address that, sir?
It's all about the way he acts, his attitude, right? Superman, what do you think of Superman? He's powerful, he's confident.
And he's 6'8", and he weighs 325 pounds of muscle.
Exactly.
He doesn't, because he slouches, I'm supposed to not recognize the guy.
He slouches, he wears loose clothes, making think he's fat, not muscular. He changes his hairstyle, he puts on glasses. It's completely different.
Really? Completely different? DC is retarded. Spider-Man wears a full body costume And the one thing about Spider-Man that should be distinguishable by his friends is the fact that he's using the same voice, okay? Mary Jane had, like, dealt with Spider-Man for, like, 40 years and never realized that was her boyfriend because, you know, that the uniform was hard to see through. But with Superman, every time he, like, talked to Lois Lane, you don't recognize that that's the same dude that you work with for 40 hours and then go home with. Hello? Lois Lane has to be the biggest idiot in history.
That just says how good his costume really is.
Really, glasses versus no glasses and hair gel.
If he can fool like a reporter whose job it is to find the truth, that just shows you how subtle changes.
Really? You gonna go with that?
Just as effective as like wearing a mask or a costume.
You're gonna go with that? Yeah. So right now, if you decide to go out and say, "Excuse me, I have to go somewhere," and I see a black dude with no glasses, with your same body type out there, with your exact same voice, and you're standing with better posture, I'm not gonna even suspect that you might be the same guy who mysteriously just left. And then even thing with Superman, with it could cover his ally, which I've never seen him do. With super speed, he can actually appear to be somewhere simultaneously. He doesn't even bother. He doesn't even try to provide a sense of, you know, sleight of hand. He just disappears throughout the whole battle. That has a guy who looks just like him, and then for 70 years he's able to come back and be like, "Oh, fixing this toy. I just missed that battle. What, did I miss Superman again? Yeah, asshole. You seem to miss him every time."
Isn't that what every superhero does, though? I mean,
yeah, but come on, they don't.
Peter Parker when he leaves,
but that don't take glasses off.
And Spider-Man shows up.
And I'm not saying that even that right there is believable. But again, ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about these heroes, if you get too caught up in the logistics, you realize that whether you have Superman on your team or Thor, if you have a god or a man who can pretty much do anything, why do you have a superhero team? Why do you need, if Jesus was a superhero, which Thor is the Norse mythology, you know, equivalent of, you wouldn't need other characters. Why do you need a god and have somebody on the team who shoots arrows? Why do you need a Superman and somebody who only runs fast? That's redundant. Like, as a villain, why would you go rob a bank in a world where Superman can have superhero and be there to kick your ass in 5 minutes? I don't understand that.
That's just of comic books. You got to kind of suspend your disbelief on that stuff. I mean, yeah, if Superman is full potential to fighting crime, there would be no crime.
God forbid he do that.
Yeah, I mean, like...
That's like Professor X. He has the ability to affect people's minds, but yet he trains children in order to battle and fight and die. If you can affect people's minds, why don't just, like, psychically turn off their urge to, like, oh, I don't know, kill millions of people? Like, why are you the most powerful telepath, but you say... Ethically, I should not use my powers. Children, go out there and kill yourselves in defense of this, even though I thought I get, like, ended. Like, where's the ethical responsibility to these children's lives?
You can't put in, like, these kind of practicalities in the comic books, else comic books wouldn't exist at all.
I guess. In real life, people with psychic abilities wouldn't go around hoping that bad guys would reform themselves.
In real life, if Superman or Thor existed, crime probably wouldn't even
be nearly
as bad as it is now.
Another thing, too, about Professor X, my namesake is a rapper, why is he not able to penetrate Magneto's helmet? What is that metal made out of? And why did not Magneto pass all those helmets to the rest of his brotherhood? Why is he the only one with a thought-checking helmet?
Hey, there you go. I don't know. Maybe he's cheap. He doesn't want to make more of them. I don't know.
What do you think this metal is? You know, where did he find this? At the Protect My Thought from the telepath store? I mean, yeah. Jesus Christ.
They sell them at Walmart.
I would imagine, but I guess you can't get a box deal. Hey, boss, we're going to go fight the most powerful telepath in the world. What do we get? You get my unwavering determination that I am right.
You get massive uniforms.
Yeah, can I get one of those helmets that doesn't allow him to control my mind? Because that would be a lot better.
That's not going to work out.
No, I'm just going to go in there and hope for the best.
Yes.
Let the chips fall where they fall.
Yes, for mankind.
Okay. Kind of feel like a little bit of fodder there, you know. But again, ladies and gentlemen, we're wrapping up the second segment. Segment with Stegman. Pun intended, no pun intended. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. I probably lost like 80% of my female viewers, and I probably gained like 90% of male viewers between the ages of 16 and 35. If you have never watched the episode of Quis' Couch, the topics range and vary. But I want to apologize for the thing that I feel most passionate about. I mean, this is a good friend of mine who we argue the pros and cons of comics and superheroes day in and day out. Anybody who knows me knows that this is probably what I'm most passionate about. But the reality is that I'm passionate about conversation, truth, and discovery. Segment, last words, anything you want to say out there to the world?
I'm just glad to be here, and thanks for starting this debate and putting it on tape and everything. And it's time to get this out there and prove why DC is so much better than Marvel Comics in every single aspect.
Read Marvel, Excelsior. Enough said. We're gonna go ahead and do a part 3. So click that link, Quis' Couch. We'll be right back.